Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the RENNSPORT Community League here today from Hockenheim. It's Season 7, Episode 5 and we are heading towards the end of the season. We have a clear lead in the championship, but that doesn't have to mean anything. As we've seen last time around, it doesn't really mean anything in this championship. I'm not alone here today though, because as usual, Tim Ireland is joining me in the commentary booth. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Nino, and hi everyone on Twitch. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing okay. It's a Saturday. What can go wrong? There's definitely no storms in the UK right now.
Not sure what you could mean. Very good weather here in Northern Europe. However, we definitely have good weather here today in the digital Hockenheim. If you've seen the first race of the DTM finale, it has been a bit rainy, but we of course here today with clear weather. And right now in qualifying, as we watch Dominik Lala getting on to his first lap of the day, it's looking quite tight in the championship, further down the grid, while Dominik Lala could really capitalize last time out on Spa. We have a lot of people that are super close together, and we can take a quick look at that. We still have the fight for second between Enrico Bräuninger and Julian Chicot. 1 point between Alizai and Rondon Hurt, who are both here today. Same for Bräuninger and Chicot actually. And Timothy Fritsch with a very good resurgence so far this season. So what do you expect with the standings after Hockenheim?
Yeah, like you said, the season's getting a bit further along now. We're getting more into the kind of business end of the season, and things are heating up. But yeah, Dominik Ladler's got a 20-point lead, but there's still plenty of time for that to go wrong. Not that I'm wishing things will go wrong for Dominik Ladler, but it's definitely not a done deal just yet. He seems to be doing pretty well right now in qualifying, currently looking good. But that's just a warm-up lap. So yeah, I think... Could it be a definitive, defining race if Ladler does well here and grows his lead? It could be kind of go time for him, really. See if he can catch everyone unawares.
Very much so. And of course, yeah, we still have one race left. If you've had a look at the Discord in recent days, you will have noticed that there was a bit of a voting going on. Rondon Hurt is taking pole after this first bunch of laps. Niklas Kelly and the Aston Martin in fourth. But yeah, we had the community voting to decide the league finale, and actually the race that will be the final GT3 race on this channel during early access. Because of course, in a bit more than 1 month's time, we will be having our official launch. And therefore RCL will be paused until then. And I think that final race will be quite interesting. What track it will be, we'll show you in just a moment after qualifying. But for now, let's go on board with some of the drivers. Here's our third position driver in the standings, Enrico Bräuninger, down the Parabolica. Had a lot of momentum
Even
that
though it's not an
right?
option, I still think Road Atlanta will win.
I mean, you wouldn't be completely forgiven to think that. Little hiccup there, but we are back online. Yeah, you wouldn't be completely forgiven to think that Road Atlanta will be final race even without being an option. It's not like that would be out of the ordinary for this community. But yeah, it's a bit different than that maybe. But let's see what Enrico Bräuninger can do on this lap currently through Sachs Curve, and we lost a lot of time in that sector 1, so maybe just an installment lap. I've seen he had a bit of a spin earlier. But of course, the winner of the last race, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think Tim Schroeder's looking pretty good at the top of the table right now. He's taken quarter of a second off Rowan de Herd, who's himself got quarter of a second over Dominic Ladler. Maybe worth mentioning, I don't know, but looking at the stat sheet, Dominic Ladler yet to get a pole position in Season 7.
That is a very good point. He usually got his points by consistent podium and close to podium positions, and of course the occasional win, but didn't really start from pole. But we had some very, very quick qualifiers in this season. Oh, Tim Schroeder very wide and over the gravel there.
It seems to have had quite varied pole position grabbers this season as well. But somehow Dominic always seems to make it happen in the race, which is arguably where it counts.
Most interestingly, this may be the first race with repeat pole sitters, because the first race was won in qualifying by Ali Zahir, the second race by David Sobrero, the third race by this man, Tim Schroeder, then it was Ron Den Hood last time out in Spa. And yeah, I mean, we have 3 of those drivers in the top 3 right now. Dominic Ladler just out there in 4th. And Julian Chicot in 5th, and he will want to get some good points out of this as well, as Enrico Bräuninger is just inching him out with a 138.2.
Got a bit of a gap back from the top 4 to a pretty tight group of kind of mid-pack people, starting with Enrico Bräuninger, Julian Chicot, Lance De La Rosa, Kozluk, Minera, and Anselm Flyer. They seem to be all fairly close on pace, so I'm expecting some good fighting from them in the mid-pack.
Bit of a catch there for P. Kozluk. Actually had a pretty good Sector 1 to start off with. Gotta always see it in a bit of a relation as Anson Pfeiler is running very wide. It seems like today my internet is not liking the weather. As you said, quite stormy today. But let's try, regardless. So with still a minute at least in qualifying, some people will be able to set the lap times. Currently on pole, Tim Schroeder in front of Ron, who will not be able to finish this lap, even though he's gone purple in Sector 1. Can Ali Zahir set another one? No, he also can't.
So that's the top 3 pretty much sewed up for now. Ladler sitting back in 4th. Enrico Bräuninger's knocking on the door of being part of the fight for the first few places there. He's managed to drag it down to only a second gap up to Dominic Ladler.
Just thinking back 2 weeks, isn't that kind of what we had there as well? I mean, I don't expect the same thing to happen here today, but if the top 4 start fighting, and they're quite close that they can start fighting, it could open up the chance for Enrico Bräuninger to slip through, and Mark Heareth also made his way up into 6th. So these 2 drivers will be looking to capitalize on the front pack fighting. But before we go into the race, it's time to talk about what comes next, what will be the final race in 2 weeks. And it is Daytona, won with 50% of the votes. So the drivers, not quite unanimously, but with a big favor towards at least my favorite oval of them all. And
a fairly decent majority.
A fairly decent majority. And I think it will be very interesting. Daytona, I think, has been one of the best tracks for racing with the slipstream going on. And I'm very much looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time. But now
it does always make an exciting race. It's very tactical. I was going to say technical, but it's not really that.
Well, the infield can be a bit technical. But now it's time to go racing at Hockenheim. 20 cars on the grid, the red lights are on. And we go racing in Hockenheim. It's been a good getaway for both AMGs, but Ron and Hood with a mega start. Julian Chico as well already passed Marquis in the background, and on the inside of Enrico Bonigo can keep 5th place this time around. And it's the two AMGs trying to fight for P2, but Ron and Hood just slipped past Tim Schroeder in that opening stage to get up into the lead. And now Dominic Lada trying to go the long way around Alizar here. Enrico Bonigo watching from behind. We go side by side behind Picos, Luke and Cesco Morea, the two teammates trying to fight over 9th position. But out front, it's Tim Schroeder having a look on Ron and same goes for Alizar, same goes for Julian Chico. And it seems like Julian Chico is able to edge out Enrico Bräuninger while Alizar wasn't able to get past. I can't talk anymore, Dominic Ladler.
Yeah, it's like a pretty lightning start from Rowan de Hood there, just edging out Tim Schroeder before turn 1. Always a bit of a strange one at Hockenheim when the P2 driver is on the right-hand side of the grid.
And the battle for P5 continues. Julian Chico and Enrico Bräuninger very close in points in the championship and even closer on track. Marquis just waiting for his chance to get by both of them, but what a fight it has been for these 3 drivers already. And we are only through the first lap with Ron and Hood taking the lead.
Yeah, things seem to have settled down a little bit at the lead. Nothing immediately going on there, but I'm sure it'll heat up as the race goes on. These guys have all got slipstream and they were very close to each other in qualifying, so I can't imagine there'll be too many breaks until fights start happening.
And especially with the slipstream down the long parabolica. Don't quite get to top speed, but you do get to very high speeds indeed. It seems like we only lost one driver, Giacomo Lanterni. The rest is all still going. Dominic Lala trying to get as close to that AMG as possible.
Yeah, Tim Schroeder's a bit of a meat in a Porsche sandwich right now. But Ali Zahir is looking to add an extra bit of AMG to that delectable meal.
And Julian Chico dropped down to 9th out of the hairpin, so either spun up the tires a bit too aggressively, as that was Vredina Hit, I think, going a bit wide. But Julian Chico now down to 9th. I think that will be a bit of a delight for Enrico Bräuninger. And Lance De La Rosa in the Porsche is up into 6th, although he's missing a door.
Okay, that seems fairly necessary in a real car, but we'll let it go in digital cars.
Well, it may not help his aero balance, but maybe helps with the rate reduction part of it. But yeah, Marquis again with the car in front of him that he wants to get by. He goes very hard over the curbing. Doesn't really like that. And Marquis now down the inside. Can he get the power down early enough? There's a bit of contact. And we drag race down the parabolica. Front the gaps have settled a bit. Tim Schroeder 3/10 behind Ron and Hood.
Yeah, they're not fully nose-to-tail touring car style, but they're getting pretty close to each other, just leaving a bit of a gap, I think, for vision's sake.
And Marquis not able to take 6th place this time around.
unfortunate one going into the midsection of the track there, where Tim Schroeder gave Rowan de Hood a little bit of a boop. He did wait for him, fully held his hands up for that one, but that has got Dominic Ladler and Ali Zahir past the previously leading two of Rowan and Tim Schroeder.
Well, we swapped one Porsche Mercedes door for another Porsche Mercedes door up front. 100 maybe not too happy with that. Had a lot of... well, was very unlucky last time out in Spa. But yeah, as you said, Tim Schroeder letting him by, rejoining afterwards. The gap to Enrico Buonica about 2 seconds. And Mark Hewitt dropped down to